My guest on this episode talks about carrying courage through life's hardest moments and choosing connection, compassion, and community as her way forward. She shares how honoring her heritage, leading with heart, and dreaming boldly for public health and wellness have shaped her journey. She reminds us that true courage often looks like calm persistence and a commitment to keep showing up, even when the road ahead is uncertain. You're listening to the Courageous Public Health Podcast, Episode 2. To all the courageous Black, Indigenous, and women of color leading in public health, this podcast is your space to turn up the volume on your courage. This space centers your voice. This space celebrates your passion. This space amplifies your courage. My role? To listen, to amplify, and to stand with you in the fight for equity. My name is Dr. Christy McClamrock. I'm an epidemiologist, consultant, the founder and CEO of Courageous Public Health, and the host of the Courageous Public Health Podcast. Each week, I have unfiltered conversations with BIPOC women in public health about the challenges you face, the power you hold, and your vision for the future. We talk about the authenticity, vulnerability, and courage that you bring, not just to public health, but to every part of your lives. Because courage is about action, even in fear. It's about taking up space, leading unapologetically, refusing to be erased, and knowing you never have to do it alone. If you're ready to turn up the volume on your courage, if you're ready to take up space, if you're ready to smash the racist, patriarchal, cisnormative, heteronormative, ableist, capitalistic systems, then let's dive into this brand new episode. Thank you for joining me on this episode. I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest. But first, I'd like to reintroduce myself if you're brand new to the podcast, or reintroduce myself if you're a returning listener. My name is Dr. Christy McClamrock, and I'm an epidemiologist, public health entrepreneur, and the CEO of the Courageous Public Health consulting firm. At Courageous Public Health, we are turning up the volume on courage within women, particularly Black, Indigenous, and women of color, who are doing the work of public health. We support public health organizations through workshop design and facilitation and speaking engagements. Be sure to subscribe to the Courageous Public Health Podcast email list. The link will be provided in the show notes. I'm so excited to introduce you to my guest on this episode. Let me formally introduce her, and then we'll jump right into our conversation. Dennise Rosas is a Berkeley Public Health alum, Masters of Public Health from 2011. She currently serves as an area director in Sutter Health's Greater Silicon Valley division, overseeing medical specialty departments, including nutrition services, travel medicine, adult weight management, and health education. Dennise previously led the performance improvement team and strategic initiatives at Zuckerberg San Francisco General Hospital. Dennise is president of the National Association of Latino Healthcare Executives, Northern California chapter, and a network leader with Lean In Latinas, a global affinity group. In her spare time, Dennise practices and teaches yoga, loves going to the beach, and visiting nearby wineries. She's a Bay Area native from San Jose. Let's connect my conversation with Dennise right now. Hi, Dennise. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you. Oh, I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to interview you today. And I want to just say, we've known each other now for a couple years. Dennise was part of the Public Health Connected Board of Directors, and then actually stepped into the role of board chair. And you were so great. I appreciated your leadership so much. And then we had a chance to actually meet for lunch with Charlotte Huntley. The three of us had lunch, which was fantastic and really fun. And then we realized that we live like 25 minutes away from each other.
Exactly. It's like, we should do this more often.
We should totally do this more often. We need to do this more often. So I want to start by giving you a chance to introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. So I'm Dennise Rosas. I am a Bay Area native. I am the eldest in my family. My family is from Mexico. My parents were born and raised there. My siblings and we grew up in San Jose and would spend every summer going to Mexico, spending the full summer with our grandparents. And I attribute those visits to being fully bilingual in Spanish and not having an accent, which is rare, and it's something I'm very proud of. And I work in healthcare with a background in public health. I am a patient advocate. I am involved in many community organizations and have passions in wellness and just self-care, which I've learned to really embrace for myself and my teams.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Embracing that for yourself and for your teams is, that's really powerful. Great. So I think we should just jump right into the questions here.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, just to remind everybody, bravery is taking action without fear, while courage is taking action despite fear. And I would love for you to share some experiences from your professional life, from your personal life, where you acted courageously.
Yes. Well, and if I can add just a little bit there, Christy, I will say that I am told that I have a very calm demeanor in my exterior.
Yes, you do.
Internally, my brain is going at 1,000 miles an hour. So what you just mentioned about courage, absolutely true for me. And I will say that that's something I've learned to be comfortable with, because it's part of who I am, and people obviously see that in me. And just thinking about examples of a moment where courage really came to light for me is a few years ago during the COVID pandemic. My family and I learned that my dad had kidney cancer. And it was very unexpected. Just from one moment to the next, he was rushed to the hospital thinking, he had a stroke. And we learned, yes, he did. And it was because of his cancer that had metastasized. And so, in that moment, my family turned to me as the person that, Dennise, you know what to do, right? You're in healthcare. You know what to do here. And I said, no, but yes, I will help us get through this, right? Because I have connections. I can ask physicians, what might be the treatment that my dad will need. I know how to kind of navigate the healthcare system that is very difficult to navigate through, and help my family get connected to therapy, to home health, etc. And so I remember having a moment of reflection with a physician that I work with, actually, and sharing with him that I am that person for my family. I'm the healthcare navigator for my family. And he reminded me to not forget that I'm also his daughter. That my dad was going through something that we were not going to be able to overcome, and that I was his daughter. So to not forget that. And, my dad did pass away about 1.5 years after his diagnosis. And I'm so thankful that I had that conversation with that physician early on, because it reminded me of the humanity of everything that we go through, and not to be tied down by a system that is very difficult to navigate through, and sometimes can be impersonal.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry for your loss. It's always hard to lose a parent. And I think that a lot of people in public health end up being the healthcare navigators for their loved ones.
Absolutely.
I think that's really relatable. I mean, I had a similar experience when my mom got cancer and then died a couple of years ago. And it's so powerful that this doctor reminded you that you're also your father's daughter. Yes. I think that's also really important, because there's a risk sometimes, because we are in public health, because we know about the medical world to some extent, to a large extent, in most cases, to actually forget the humanity piece. I'm so glad that you did that. And I'm glad that you brought that up here.
Yes. Yes. Well, and I will say that physician, in my career, I've worked with many physicians, some of which are also teachers, whether it's in, a medical school program or have a background in public health, and really understand, how to connect with someone as a person, and not just focus on whatever the illness might be that they're going through. Mm-hmm. And that particular physician, he's an educator. And so I was like, I could open up to him and just share everything that I was experiencing and not be shy about crying and sharing my emotions, which he really understood.
And I think that takes courage too, right?
Mm-hmm.
To show our emotions.
Right. Like, he's a colleague and he's seeing me cry, but that's okay.
It's okay. It's good. Mm-hmm. It's good. Yes. I think too, as public health professionals, especially those of us who deal with a lot of data, it's really important. I mean, it just reminds me of the importance of remembering that the data represent actual people.
Exactly.
I think that's important too. What about in your professional life?
Yes, in my professional life, I mean, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I'm learning that one of my skills, or maybe something that I'm known for, is jumping into new things. And you mentioned it with regards to Public Health Connected, and the role that I had there. Last year, I was approached by our chief diversity officer, actually, at my organization, about forming a core group of people who would help initiate a chapter for an organization called the National Association of Latino Healthcare Executives. And of course, I said yes. I'm like, this is right up my alley. I love doing this kind of work. And it also was one of the first opportunities to reconnect and be involved in networks that I hadn't really done over the last several years. And so was involved in that core group, which led to information sessions. And then, by the way, we need to form a board of directors, and there's going to be nominations. And guess what, Dennise? You were elected as president for the Northern California chapter. Wow. I was not expecting that. And at the same time, I said, I think in the back of my mind, that is what I wanted to do with this organization. So, of course, I said yes. And so last August is when the organization fully established as a new chapter. And since then, I've been leading a board of directors to create events, create a space, a community for professionals in health. And it's not about being an executive. It's not about being in healthcare. It's truly any role where you are focused on health. This organization is for you. And that's the message that myself and the board have communicated to everyone who's involved or that we meet. And so obviously starting something new takes courage, and it's exciting. It's also a big responsibility. And I've said to everyone, this organization is for you. So yes, I might be the president, and yes, there may be a board, but this organization is really for you. And we're here to listen to, for you to tell us what you want. What are you looking for? Is it community? Is it having a safe space to have these vulnerable conversations that you may not be able to have in your work environments? Is it representation because you don't see others in roles like, like the ones that you want to have in your organization, and you want a network of support?
I'm not at all surprised that you jumped right in. I do know this about you. It's a great.
Even my boss at work said the same thing. I said, I'm involved in this organization. I'm not really sure what this is going to look like. And a few weeks later, I said, I now know that I'll be the chapter president. He's like, I knew it. Yes. So yes, I'm learning to step into and embrace that this is what I enjoy doing, and it really kind of fulfills me in different ways than maybe my day-to-day work does.
I mean, that's such a great way to also take up space and yeah, put yourself out there. I mean,
oh yes.
I love
Yes.
it. I
I didn't
love it.
realize how much visibility, Christy, this was going to bring to me, especially, on LinkedIn or other platforms. It's like, Dennise, you commented on something. I'm going to like your, I'm like, what?
What?
Okay. Thank you.
It's because
I
other
need to
people,
be, reminded that I now have that visibility and that there is power in that. And it's also being more visible, right? So again, it is taking up space and having a platform to talk about, topics that maybe are not, we don't see as often, but really need to be heard and need to be said.
and I think what's so amazing is you do that and then people are drawn to you, right? They want to connect with you.
Absolutely.
They want to learn from you.
Yes.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
So, courage isn't just about taking action despite fear. I think it's also about claiming and expressing your power. And especially in spaces that may not always welcome it, which is exactly what you're talking about. So I'm curious about how you express and embody your power as a Latina and Mexican American woman doing the work of public health. You touched on this a little, but
yes.
more thoughts about that?
Well, I think for me, it's not just about, having pride in who I am and what I stand for. It's also sharing that with others, right? And so I did mention this organization, NALHE, the Latino Healthcare Executives. I'm also involved in another organization that also focuses on Latinas. And I talk about that at work. I was given a platform by my leader to share what this organization is for, and her actually acknowledging in front of a group of people that this is an example of leadership, and that as an organization we want to help people grow. And soon after that presentation, I actually spoke with a few people, and I said, I am someone who is very connected to my community, very proud of my family background. And as I mentioned earlier, spending summers in Mexico and just really immersing myself in the culture of Mexico, that I understand like the lived experience that many immigrants have, especially coming from, a Latin country, and the focus on family and community. And then also this sense of humility, which sometimes may mean, take a step back, or, be in the background and not be the person who's visible. We can't do that anymore, right? We need to share our stories. We need to share what we bring to the table that may not be valued in the same way because of systems that were created for others. And now is an opportunity to say, well, those systems, they don't work with the society that we are today. And the fact that we are such a diverse community, that we need to have all those voices at the table. And so that's really what drives me to bring that voice to the table, to, be recognized as a Latina in healthcare, that wants to continue to climb through, the matrixed organizations that exist out there, and really bring that public health voice actually to healthcare that is sometimes lacking, that we really need to take that community approach once again.
You're such an inspiration, and I love your energy. I've always loved your energy. And you have shared a lot about your background and about your experiences as a Latina Mexican American woman, just in getting to know you, right? You've shared some stories with me, and it's really a pleasure to get to know like all the different sides of you, right? Not just as a public health professional, because we want to be integrated people and bring all the parts of ourselves to all of the things that we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm a human being. I'm not, one thing. I'm many things. And, I again, really value the different aspects of my life that contribute to who I am, whether it's, again, my community, my family, my, travels, the roles that I've had, organizations that I've been a part of, moments of joy and sadness, all of that makes up, who I am. And I bring that to everything I do.
Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I love it. So, let's look ahead. Mm-hmm. Let's look ahead, Dennise. I'm really curious about what your vision is for the future. And that can be in terms of your vision for public health, your vision for BIPOC communities, your personal vision. What's your vision for the future?
Yes. I mean, I have so many ideas of what I want to do next and pivots in my career. I think that, especially right now with everything that's happening in our country, it's really an opportunity to not feel defeated, but rather see this as an opportunity to say, how can we come together? How can we actually bring to light the wonderful work that public health does? The reason why it's important to continue to do the work that we've done and the advancements that we've made, and actually have us collaborate more closely than we have in the past. I think that is something that I'm hearing from other organizations out there that are really seeing this as, yes, we can focus on all, the negative side of things. And at the same time, there's a positive here because we're going to get through this. And this is an opportunity for us to rebuild in many ways. Organizations that historically may have worked in silos, that's not going to be sustainable anymore. Let's all come together. And so that's something that I know that I will be involved in. Again, those organizations that I'm a part of, I've already started having conversations with other organizations to collaborate, to build coalitions instead of working in parallel, but in our own silos. And so, in terms of, my vision for public health, it's that we are going to be much more of a collaborative type of field that is going to require all of us to really be aligned in the work that we do so that we have a shared message and not, what we have historically known public health to be, which is many different disciplines that can do work in very different ways, but ultimately it's for the same purpose, right? We are here to help with the health of the community, of the country, of the world. So how can we have that always be our vision for the work that we're doing? So that's really what I see for public health. And then, in terms of personally, I have some ideas of things that I want to do next in my career. I'm not ready to share what those are just yet, but I am interested in, exploring more around the wellness space. I also became a yoga instructor a few years ago. And so I'm thinking how can I incorporate that into the work that I do? Just continuing on to be a source of light, a source of, a connection point for people, because that's really what we need right now is don't disconnect, stay connected, stay involved, because it's hard times, and having a community that you can turn to is important.
I was really hoping you were going to say something about being a yoga instructor.
It's always there. I mean, earlier this year, I celebrated a milestone birthday. I turned 40 and Yay! I went to Bali on a yoga retreat. So it was an amazing experience. And it was yet another opportunity for me to think about, so how am I incorporating this into the work that I do? So it just sparked more ideas for me and what I want to do with yoga.
Oh my gosh. I love that. Wow. A trip to Bali. Yeah. That's to study yoga. That's fantastic.
Oh, yes.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I love your vision for the future. Alignment in public health and collaboration in public health. is,
Yes.
it's much needed. And you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to get there.
We are. I mean, I think there's momentum building, I think, Christy, again, with everything that we're seeing happening across the country, there is momentum building in terms of organizations understanding that, we can only take so much before you say, no, this is enough. Not something needs to be done.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. That's, it's just a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes.
And hear, what your thoughts are. And certainly you are a very courageous person. And, that's one of the things that I love about you. So thanks so much for.
Thank you for creating this space. I mean, I think it's courageous of you to start something new and to really, again, bring a platform for people to share their experiences and talk about what we need in this day and time.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, Dennise.
Yeah, thank you.
That was such a great conversation. Dennise leads with heart, vision, and an unwavering dedication to building healthier, stronger communities. I encourage you to connect with her to learn more about her and her courage. You can find the links to connect with her on the show notes page for this episode, located on our website, courageouspublichealth.com, under episode 2. Before you go, please take a moment and share this episode with a friend. I know you have people in your life who would appreciate hearing this conversation about courage. If you're listening in a podcast app, you can easily share this episode through a text or directly to social media. On the show notes page, you'll also find social media sharing buttons to make it super easy to spread the word. All right, everyone. Until next time, stay courageous. Thank you for listening to the Courageous Public Health Podcast. Visit courageouspublichealth.com to find the show notes for each episode and learn how to connect with us.